Thank you. You mentioned a word earlier, rejectionism. How do we deal with Israeli rejectionism in the West Bank, where there's an ever-increasing number of settlements? I think 2024 had the highest number of land grabs, 24,000 dunams were declared as land state land, sorry. How do we deal with that? So Israel doesn't want to see the West Bank go under Palestinian sovereignty. What are your views?
I think at various times in its history and in the history of the conflict, Israel has, according to reports from people like Bill Clinton and even Israeli prime ministers who've recently shown maps and the like, has proposed very favourable settlements to the issues of those disputed territories. I think that right now, after the atrocities of October the 7th, much of the, let's say, traditionally left peace camp in Israel has really been massively disillusioned by what happened from its Palestinian neighbours.
Does that justify violent settlers?
I'm not trying to justify anything. I'm not here to defend or anything. I'm just giving you my analysis in answer to your question of what I make of the current situation. So I think that the opinion of many Israeli citizens, and not all, they're certainly not a homogenous group, it's a thriving democracy, but the opinion of much of Israeli society has changed drastically over the last 18 months since that horrific attack. And I think that many who were of the tendency to try to give land in return for peace have found themselves disillusioned again and again over time. And so I suspect that the prospect of trying to convince Israeli people, as well as many Israeli politicians, that land concessions will stop the continued threat, which is very manifest, as we saw on October the 7th and before and after it. I think that it will be very difficult to convince them of that. So what I would suggest is that if that is one's aim and agenda, especially as allied countries, for example the UK, it would be a really good idea and a strong idea to try to convince Israel. We often talk about confidence building in the actions that states take towards the conflict between the Israelis and the Palestinian Arabs. I think that often that confidence building has not been enough on the side of building the confidence of the Israelis, who have a very obvious fear of the brutality of those neighbours it's expected to negotiate with and make peace with. And so if we can give in any way, diplomatically or politically, some sort of support to our democratic ally in Israel, that they are going to be able to ensure their security, that is more likely, I think.